Please welcome Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. Please excuse my voice, which should get stronger as I talk. I tell people I got dragged kicking and screaming into this issue, into this controversy, and I had been working in the early 2000s, I'm the president of Waterkeeper Alliance, with the biggest water protection group in the world. We have 300 patrol boats in 35 countries that track down polluters, and then we sue them. And in the early 2000s, I had about 30 lawsuits against coal-burning power plants. And we were singularly focused on mercury emissions from those plants, and that was the angle that we were suing them under. So I was going around the country at that time. According to FDA, every freshwater fish in America had dangerous levels of mercury in its flesh, and most of that was coming from emissions from coal-burning power plants. I was going around the country speaking to large audiences and giving over 100 speeches a year. And I started being approached mainly by women after these speeches who were very respectful, but mildly scolding, and who would say to me that if you're really interested in mercury exposures to children, you need to look at thimerosal and vaccines. And these were people, they weren't hysterics, they weren't kind of ideological naturopaths. Most of these women, I learned, were people who were pro-vaccine and had a child who had an intellectual disability, a child who had been injured by the vaccines that they gave them. Many of them were professional. Almost all of them were formidable. They were well-informed. They were calm, and they knew what they were talking about. They knew the science backwards and forward. And they asked me to look at the science. I resisted for a long time, but I'm very comfortable reading science. I got into my profession as an environmental attorney initially wanting to be a scientist. And I've brought over 500 successful lawsuits or legal actions. Almost all of them involve a scientific controversy. So I'm very comfortable reading science. If I weren't, I wouldn't have been able to prevail in those lawsuits. And I started reading the science on mercury, and particularly ethylmercury in vaccines. And the first thing that struck me was the huge delta between what the science actually said and what the public perception and the press and the medical establishment were saying the science said. And about a week ago, I did a press conference with Robert De Niro in Washington, D.C., which is available on the internet. And we brought to that press conference, just for illustration, because for many years the press has said there's no science that says that thimerosal is unsafe. So we brought a pile of 240 studies that are available on PubMed, and we stacked them on a table, and they're this high. And let's say that thimerosal causes brain damage. It causes injury in animals, in cadavers, in petri dishes, in rats and mice and guinea pigs and pheasants and goats and cows. It details mass poisonings and what happened there, and says that it talks about the brain damage that are caused. It connects it with all of this epidemic of neurological disorders. And we now see in American children ADD, ADHD, speech delay, language delay, sleep disorders, depression, low IQ, narcolepsy, SIDS, seizure disorder, ASD, and autism. And it's all in those 240 studies. And next to the, I gave them all the studies that don't say anything about autism, just say it causes brain damage, damage to motor skills, etc. And next to that pile is a pile this big of 81 studies, including one that was 2 weeks old, that suggest a link to autism. Again, these are studies that the press say don't exist.
The CalJam Network is your all-access pass to CalJam all year long. The site hosts hundreds of videos and endless chiropractic content. The network is a great resource for anyone passionate about chiropractic health. Visit this newly renovated CalJam streaming service at caljamnetwork.org.